the whole world knows the story of a boy who had nothing but a dream.
I'm a professional MMA fighter with a record of 4-1. Without a doubt, you will see me on the UFC in the near future.
A boy who made the entire world bow at his feet.
I would describe the UFC featherweight division as mine. It will be just me. UFC featherweight division, Conor McGregor.
All his life, the Notorious dreamed of becoming the first ever double champion in UFC history, and he did it.
Become the first two-division concurrent champion in the sport. I think he's a unique guy in a very it's almost like we don't have a word strong enough. Unique is not really a strong enough word.
But behind the incredible story of a young man who once worked as a plumber, survived on unemployment benefits, and rose to the very top of mixed martial arts, lies another darker chapter. A chapter filled with drug trafficking, a war between two Mafia cartels, and the shadowy involvement of UFC's first ever double champion. In this video, I'll tell you about the secret and almost invisible connection between a global icon with millions of fans and Ireland's ruthless, merciless mafia. We all know that gangster groups, mafia cartels, and organized crime families exist in every corner of the world. Crime will always be there, and it often collides with the best of us. But in his youth, by his own words, Conor McGregor was a small, weak boy bullied by classmates. And mafia families don't care about boys like that. But when that same boy grows into the embodiment of combat sports, smashing anyone and everyone in his way, inevitably, a pair of red, angry eyes will emerge from the shadows and focus on him.
Who's this guy you're fighting?
This guy is a dead man walking. That's who this guy is.
What are you going to do to this guy in the ring, physically?
I am going to maul him. I am going to rip him limb from limb.
So for him to say he is the king and I am the joker, if this was a different time, I would invade his favela on horseback and kill anyone that was not fit to walk. But we are in a new time, so I'll whoop his ass in July.
After his sensational victory over Jose Aldo, McGregor reached his first media peak. In Ireland, the former plumber became the most famous man in the country. Millions of fans, hundreds of thousands of dollars, dozens of interviews. Overnight, he became a true superstar. When that tidal wave of fame crashed down on him, McGregor began to feel like the main character of Scarface. Drunken brawls, random conflicts, bursts of violence all became part of the Irishman's everyday life. And yet, Conor's fame and his connections seemed to make him untouchable in the eyes of the law. But there is another world, a world where law means nothing. The Kinahan Organised Crime Group, one of the most powerful and feared mafia clans in Ireland. If you thought Khabib Nurmagomedov was the scariest thing McGregor ever faced, you'd be dead wrong. One hot summer evening, McGregor was in a bar, behaving as usual in his own notorious way. After a heated exchange, he did what he often did back then. He knocked out an elderly man who had criticized his behavior. But this time, the fight changed McGregor's life forever. It became his personal line between before and after. Because the man he assaulted wasn't just some random old guy. He was the father of one of the leaders of Ireland's Mafia cartel, Graham de Wig Whelan. And as fate would have it, Graham himself was in the same bar that night, watching as the Irish superstar ruthlessly beat his father. McGregor couldn't have imagined the kind of deadly trouble waiting for him after that. Within just 24 hours, the headlines across Ireland exploded. The Kinahan Organised Crime Group has allegedly placed a €1 million bounty on Conor McGregor's head. But fortunately for the Irishman, no assassination attempt ever came, because the two sides somehow found common good. The Marble Arch, one of Ireland's most infamous pubs, suddenly became part of McGregor's empire. Conor reportedly purchased it for $16 million. Yes, by then McGregor was already a millionaire, but even for him, buying such an expensive pub wasn't exactly a sound financial move. But this wasn't a normal deal, this was a proposal he couldn't refuse. The very same weekend after McGregor beat the old man inside that pub, he bought it. McGregor had quite literally signed a deal with the devil. For the Kinahan clan, the Marble Arch was the perfect hub, a place for drug trafficking, arms deals, and meeting with powerful people. The Kinahan organized crime group is not just another brutal outfit carrying out contract killings. They are a business empire built on drugs, weapons, and blood. And soon, photos and videos began to surface. McGregor laughing, drinking, enjoying himself with the very same men who, just days earlier, had supposedly ordered his death. In April 2015, McGregor was even spotted at the funeral of Paul Kavanagh, the right-hand man of Graham Whelan. And this wasn't the only connection. For years, McGregor has been closely tied to Paul's nephew, professional Irish boxer Jamie Kavanagh. It wasn't just sport linking them. That very year, Jamie was scheduled to headline a major stadium event in Ireland, but the fight never happened. Why? Because the weigh-in descended into chaos, ending in a gang-related shootout. Even McGregor's own pub, the Black Forge Inn, has its own dark history. It's been set on fire, it's been shot at. Rumours, though unproven, say it was attacked by a rival gang from Crumlin. One night, when Kinahan men were inside, Molotov cocktails were thrown through the windows. So yes, within Ireland, there's more than enough smoke to suggest McGregor's ties to the Mafia. But to fully prove this theory, we need to look directly at his professional career. From the very start, whispers followed McGregor, rumours that the Notorious was using banned substances. At first, people brushed it off as conspiracy theories and hater talk. But watching footage of McGregor in clubs and bars, even by his standards, his behaviour seemed beyond reckless, as if his mind was clouded by something stronger than alcohol. And according to many, it was the Kinahan clan that introduced McGregor to the most infamous Irish party cocktail, good old whiskey mixed with cocaine. And one of those wild nights even leaked into the public eye, footage watched by millions.
When you got out of your vehicle, the crowd erupted.
In these moments, those closest to McGregor often heard him say he saw himself as the master of the world, the main man, even God. But the final turning point came after his mega fight with Floyd Mayweather. Not because Conor lost, no, the issue was what happened afterward. Just an hour after the biggest event of his career, Conor was already celebrating the defeat, surrounded by alcohol and the same Irish underworld figures who had been shadowing his rise.
Sorry, bro. Sorry. Dude, I'm a very, very proud. Be proud. I'm telling you, you're unbelievable.
Hold on, do you want a whiskey?
His longtime head coach, John Kavanagh, even wrote in his book that after Conor's first MMA loss, he blamed only one thing: McGregor's connections. The people he was spending time with weren't just bad influences for a professional athlete, they weren't the kind of people any normal man should ever be around. And yet, despite all promises, McGregor kept up his ties with the Kinahan clan. In his later UFC fights, Conor often traveled to Dubai to set up training camps. Coincidence or not, Dubai also happens to be where the Kinahan leaders live in exile. On Instagram, Conor shares pictures of himself as a loving family man surrounded by his wife and children. But Dubai is the place he flies to alone. And the circle goes beyond Conor. Even boxing star Tyson Fury and his cousin Billy Joe Saunders have been linked to the Kinahan clan through photos and meetings. Both Fury and McGregor would later share another common thread: the consequences of these associations. Both fell into long spirals of depression, drowning in alcohol and drugs. Both were sidelined from their sports, stepping away from their careers that once made them legends. Kavanagh was right about one thing: the wrong friends can ruin everything. And in McGregor's case, it's crystal clear. In just the last 5 years, he managed to destroy his reputation piece by piece. Street fights, assaults, rape allegations, the list goes on, and most of these crimes committed under the influence of alcohol at the very least. If this hypothesis is correct, the Mafia didn't just touch McGregor's life, they reshaped it. They turned his once golden career into something far darker. We all remember the Conor who was untouchable, the peak version of the Notorious, the man who could beat Dustin Poirier 3 times in a week, not the broken version cracking jokes about Dustin's wife at press conferences. The Conor McGregor who entered history as a once-in-a-lifetime champion is very different from the Conor we see now, and yet he remains a legend, a champion in the hearts of millions, even if he traded a truly unique sporting career for money and chaos. Was that his choice, or was it a decision forced upon him by people far more powerful than him? We'll never know. And what do you think about this? Drop your opinion in the comments below. Thank you for watching. See you later.